everyone, and welcome back to the Entertainment Esquire. Today we'll be discussing celebrity lawsuits in the context of Turning Point USA chairwoman Erica Kirk versus comedian and social influencer Drewski. Let's get started. So, is it true or false that Erica Kirk from Turning Point USA has sent a cease and desist letter to comedian Drewski? This is so false. According to his team, that sent a statement to Newsweek. Any claim that a cease and desist letter sent by Erica Kirk is simply false. It's not true. So this was something that was floating around. I believe there was a screenshot of supposedly an account owned by Drewski stating this. It's since been deleted. But you see how quickly false information can spread. So anyway, that is false. But this episode is going to talk about what claims could Erica Kirk have against Drewski if she did want to send a cease and desist, if she did want to file a lawsuit. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly talk about what exactly this skit was about. So the viral skit basically has Drewski playing a conservative white woman, right? Showing her at a rally, running errands, being interviewed by the press, and even working out. Now, while Drewski never says Erica Kirk's name explicitly, he does do a couple of things that obviously points to him referring to her in some capacity. So he wears a similar outfit as her, a white suit and a black shirt that she was seen at a public rally at. He imitates her intense stare that she typically does when she speaks. He also, the fireworks that were at her husband's memorial with that same black shirt and white suit. He literally, you can see it here. He literally recreates it. And then obviously there are some statements that are very similar that I'll get to in a second, that he doesn't repeat word for word, but he almost remixes essentially what she is saying. And so again, he doesn't necessarily ever say her name, but do you really have to? When you see this skit, hopefully you've seen the skit by now. I am going to play a portion of it when I do the side by side when I talk about parody. In the meantime, let's move on to what a cease and desist letter could state in terms of claims, or what even a lawsuit could state in terms of claims. So the first thing Erica could claim is an invasion of privacy, specifically the tort of misappropriation, which falls under invasion of privacy. And again, I am a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer, and this is not legal advice. I am stating the elements of these statutes based on the state of Georgia, because this is where Drewski primarily resides. So for the most part, invasion of privacy, tort of misappropriation, which is under invasion of privacy, is pretty much the same everywhere, and so is false light and intentional infliction of emotional distress. But depending on which state you are, it may be slightly differently. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer that I'm speaking from Georgia statutes. I'm not a Georgia attorney. I'm just reading from the statute. So invasion of privacy, specifically the tort of misappropriation, says that if you use someone's likeness unauthorized, meaning without their permission, and you monetize it, then that's a form of invasion of privacy, because you're making money off of something and they didn't even give you permission to be included. And likeness is not just name, right? Because he never says Erica's name. He just uses her image, a similar image, similar outfits, similar mannerisms. That is all her likeness. And so, yes, I actually think she would have a pretty good claim for that. But I also feel like he has a really good counter defense regarding parody, which I'll get to in a second. Second, there's false light. Now, that actually requires public disclosure of false facts that a highly reasonable person would consider offensive, and that you knowingly or in reckless disregard dispense those facts. In this case with Erica Kirk, I think it would be really hard to prove that there was a public disclosure of false facts. or false information. I'm sorry, false information, because there's no information being dispensed. If anything, he's just imitating what he's seeing. So I don't necessarily consider that false information. So just not meeting that element alone, you wouldn't even have to go through the rest of the elements for false light, because I don't believe this would be considered false information. Then moving on to, last but not least, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Similar to invasion of privacy, I do think she may have a claim here, just because clearly he acted deliberately, willfully, maybe not with reckless disregard for causing the emotional distress, but definitely deliberately and willfully probably knew that when she saw this, she would probably assume that she was being made fun of, and that she would then be subject to public ridicule. I think he knew that, and so actually take that back, because he probably knew that. It was probably in reckless disregard that it could cause her emotional distress. But intentional infliction of emotional distress, especially in Georgia, but pretty much anywhere, it has to be severe. It can't just be, you're upset and you're embarrassed. But I do think at this point, I think more people watched his video than watched like the halftime at the Super Bowl. So at this point, this is not like a local thing, a national thing. This is like a global embarrassment. And so she may have a case for severe emotional distress. Now, how does parody with the First Amendment protect Drewski against this? Drewski is going to be protected here by the First Amendment under what we call parody. If you listen to my Afroman episode, the rapper who used footage of a drug raid that turned up nothing in his house, he took the public footage of the officers raiding his house, and he put it in a music video, and they were embarrassed by it, and they sued him for defamation and false light, similar things that I'm claiming that Erica could potentially put in her potential lawsuit against Drewski, and they lost. And so there is some precedent here. Now, obviously, Afroman was in Ohio, but I do think sometimes states look to other states and how they rule. And the Constitution is actually federal. So in the case of Afroman, I think Drewski would have a strong case of parody, which is essentially social and political commentary, often utilizing exaggeration or humor to critique subjects. And again, it's strongly protected under the First Amendment. And usually the subjects are political figures or public persons. In fact, the more public they are, it's probably harder to sue for this. Obviously, provided that what you're presenting can't be reasonably taken as the truth, which leads to something somebody else may not point out in this. Is this really parody, or is he just literally copying and pasting what she already did? As you see here in the video, it's like a cut and paste. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to, in this episode right now, give you a side-by-side of the 3 key pieces of things that he copied essentially from real life into this video, which almost goes against the argument of parody. Is it really parody if you're just literally imitating what someone already did in real life? And even if then it is not parody so then it is not protected under First Amendment in that way, is it still protected as First Amendment free speech? And I think the answer to that is yes. So even if it's not parody, because it's basically him imitating something that is exactly already been done, I still think it would be protected under the First Amendment. But let's take a look. Let's listen to 3 key points in the video where he pretty much does a cut and paste of what she's already done.
Get on your feet! But we serve a just God, and I rest easy in knowing that He's sovereign, but He's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
I serve a righteous God, and that is why we say our prayers. We are all His children. But when I say children, I mean like the Holy Blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man. Especially a young white male man. Don't ever let anyone talk down to you. We need strong men out there.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country.
So, is this a form of parody or any form of First Amendment speech that you think should be protected by the First Amendment? I'll let you decide. In the meantime, thank you for watching The Entertainment Esquire. You can find me on my weekly YouTube show at The Entertainment Esquire, on all audio platforms at The Entertainment Esquire, and don't forget to follow me on social media at The Entertainment ESQ. Take care, everyone. Thank you for listening to The Entertainment Esquire. Find our show on YouTube at The Entertainment Esquire, and on social media at The Entertainment ESQ. Need a legal consultation? Need a lawyer referral or legal resources for your business or legal matters? Then visit us at theentertainmentesq.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.